Okay, so let's talk materials for a bit. We have our 3.5 hook, definitely need that. We need yarn needle. I used 2 different yarn needles for this project. And let me show you as soon as I can get a hold of them. So the zippers that I purchased, because I didn't have any zippers here that were long enough, the ones I purchased had a really narrow handle, and so to get the yarn through, I used a more narrow yarn needle, and then I used this one just like to weave in ends and such. You will need some scissors. I mean, that's pretty standard for all of our time together, scissors. We need worsted yarn. So for this project, I used white for the inside of our apple slice. I used green because I'm making a green apple slice. I used a dark green for the leaf, and I used a black for the seeds. Oh, you can't see the dark green. There it is. All right, we also will need stitch marker. That's just, you know, to help us with our rows. We will need zipper. Let me grab a zipper for you. So the zippers that I purchased are 12-inch. We will not need all 12 inches. We need more like 10. But I'm gonna show you how to cut it. So I use the 12. Optional, you can use a keychain if you want to make this a keychain. And we also need needle and thread because we are sewing our zipper to our work. And that is a new one. We've never done this before, but I'm gonna show you how to do it. And I think that's it. Let's go ahead and get into it. Okay, so let's start with the apple slice. We need our white yarn, and we're gonna start with a magic circle. In our magic circle, we're gonna put 6 single crochets. 4, 5, 6. All right, let's go ahead and put our stitch marker. And then we're gonna do increases all the way around. So that's 2 single crochets in each stitch. So that's 2, and you should end up with 12 single crochets. So go ahead and do that all the way around. All right, row number 3 is gonna be 1 single crochet and then 2 single crochets, which is an increase. So 1, and then an increase all the way around. Row number 4 is going to be 2 single crochets and then an increase. So that's 1, 2, and then an increase. 1, 2, and then an increase, and you're doing that all the way around. Okay, we're at row number 5, which is 3 single crochets and then an increase. So that's 1, 2, 3, and then an increase. So this is going to be the same pattern all the way up into 10 single crochets and then an increase. So I'm going to go kind of fast through these because it is a lot of increase, rows of increase. So this was 3 single crochets and an increase. Next one is 4, then 5, then 6, and what have you. So go ahead and do 3 single crochets and then an increase, and all the way around, and then I'll meet you back here. Row 6, 4 single crochets, then an increase. Hold on. 4 single crochets and an increase. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then an increase. You're gonna do that all the way around. Okay, row number 7 is gonna be 5 single crochets and an increase. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then an increase all the way around. Row number 8 is going to be 6 single crochets, then an increase. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6, and an increase all the way around. All right, row number 9 is going to be 7 single crochets. We'll move it right along here, y'all. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then an increase all the way around. All right, row 10 is going to be 8 single crochets in a increase. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then an increase all the way around. Row number 11 is going to be 9 single crochets and then an increase. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then an increase all the way around. For row number 12, 10 single crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and an increase all the way around. Okay, row number 13, we're gonna switch our color to, I actually want to do a green. Let me get my green out here. And our last stitch, we're gonna change to our green. All right. And then this next row, we're gonna do 11 single crochets and then an increase. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I love my senses are playing tricks on me because I actually smell green apple right now. That's kind of crazy. All right, all the way around. 11 single crochets and then an increase. Okay, our last 2 rows, rows 14 and 15, is going to be 1 single crochet in each stitch, and you should have 78 stitches if all went well. So 1 single crochet in each stitch all the way around. I'm going to do my 14 and 15 rows, and then I'll meet you back here. Okay, so now we want to do the seeds, and how we're going to do this is we folded our work in half. We're going to look for our magic circle. We're going to count between rows 3 and 4 and insert our hook. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. So we're going to insert our hook. If I can get it in there. There we go. And then you're going to go back into between rows 5 and 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So in here somewhere. And then you're going to wrap twice. So that was once. And then you're just going to go in because that counts as our second wrapping. What I like to do just to make the inside look a little neater is I actually cut my yarn and I do 2 knots, apply some glue, and then cut the tail really short. And it just, for me, it makes the inside look a little neater. And you're going to repeat that twice so that your other side looks like this. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and let this dry before I add anything else to this. So we're going to start the leaf instead. To start the leaf, we're going to chain 10. Five, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So next what we're going to do is, for row number 2, a single crochet, 2 single crochets, 2 double crochets, 3 triple crochets, Okay, back. That's 1, 2, and 3. Next, we're going to do 2 double crochets. So that's 1, 2. And then what we're going to do is in this last stitch here, we are going to do 2 single crochets. So that's 1 and 2. We're going to chain 2, and that's going to help us to make the point in our leaf. And we're going to go do 2 more single crochets in that same stitch. Pull this tight. You see how that point is made right there? On the other side of our chain, we're going to essentially do the same thing. All right, on the other side of the chain, we are going to do 2 double crochets. So in that first stitch, we're doing a double crochet. Second stitch, we're doing a double crochet. We're going to follow that up with 2 triple crochets. So that's 1, 2, and 3. Where's 3? There it is. And then we are going to do 2 double crochets. So 1, 2, and in that last stitch, we are going to do 2 single crochets, chain 2, 1 single crochet, and then slip stitch. And our leaf is done. Go ahead and fasten off, leave a tail, because we're going to attach this to our zipper. What we can also do is, because I crocheted over this tail, I can just go ahead and cut it. If you didn't crochet over it, you need to weave it in. So let's go ahead and go to the next part. All right, so this is what we're looking like so far, and now we want to add the zipper. So forgive me, I have a needle in my mouth. I threaded my thread already. So we're gonna fold our apple slice in half, and we're gonna pin the zipper to each side of our slice. So what this is gonna look like is, I got a 12-inch zipper. I'm gonna put this needle down because it's killing me. I have a 12-inch zipper. And it's purposely longer than my project, and I'll show you how to cut that in just a little bit. Now keep in mind, the inside of our apple slice will show the zipper part, so you can sew that down, or if you're a little bit more of an advanced crafter, you can sew a lining on the inside, and it makes it look so much neater on the inside. But we're not doing that today because I want to make this as basic as possible so that our beginning folks can have a project that's really cute. All right, so what we're gonna do is we are going to unzip our zipper. We're going to take the right side of our zipper and the right side of our apple slice, find that fasten off where we ended our row number. I think it was like 15, 20, something like that. And we are going to look for the metal part on the zipper. This part right here, you don't want to start sewing on this part because it's going to leave a big gap in your work. Like when you zip your pouch closed, there's going to be a gap. So you want to make sure you start after that metal piece right there. And so what I like to do is just kind of fold it down like that. And then you can start pinning your zipper to your actual apple slice. Oh, that pin is really dope. Probably should have put that in the trash instead of back in the stash. Huh? Okay, and so we're just pinning like so all the way around. And this is an invisible zipper that I'm working with. It just makes it a little bit more clean. And because it is an invisible zipper, I want to get as close to that last row as possible. You see that? So don't pin it like at the end like that, unless that's the look you're going for, because all of that is going to show. I want mine to be as invisible as possible, so I'm going to pin as close as possible like that. So go ahead and do this all the way around, and then I'll meet you back here so we can start the sewing process. Okay, so this is the right side of my work. I'm not gonna pin the other side just yet, out of preference. If you want to, you can, but it's a little bit tricky because my zipper is so long, which is why I stopped here. If you want to follow along with me, I'll show you how to shorten our zipper, how to cut it, and how to continue with the other side. Okay, so I already threaded my needle. My yarn, my thread is a little bit lighter than my actual work. It's okay for what it is, but if you can get closer in color, that would be ideal. This is just what I had on hand, and I didn't want to go to the store to get, thread for this particular project. I don't really sew all that often anymore, so I'm gonna use what I have. And it's just gonna show a little bit on the inside, the outside, because of the crochet. The thread will seep right into the crochet, so you won't see it on the outside, but you will see it on the inside, and I'm okay with that. So you want to start in the back. I don't like to knot the end of my thread. That's not common. It's just something that I like to do because when I come back in, I create that knot there. It's just easier for me, and I think that's just because I'm a crocheter, and that's just, common practice, I guess. But you want to secure your thread before you move on, because otherwise it will just fall right out of your project. So go ahead and secure this. If you have nails on like me, it's a task. Just like that. And I usually just do like 2. Okay. So the way that I sew this, if you've never sewn before, that's okay. It's really not that difficult. So what you want to do is, you see how we have our stitches on the outer side? I like to go into one stitch, just like that. Pull through. And I like to go out the same stitch. So just make sure you're capturing your zipper. Just like that. And I'm just going to do this all the way down, and I can take out my pins as I go and just readjust them with my hand. So holding it in place, I'm going to go through my zipper and into one of the stitches, just like that. And I'm going to go out through that same stitch and through my zipper, just like that. And you see how, like, in my crochet work, you can't see that the yarn color is different, but if you flip it over, you can definitely see the difference in those colors. And I mean, I'm okay with that. It's not the end of the world for me. So I'm gonna do this all the way down, and I would like for you to do the same. And when we get to the end, I'll come back to show you how to continue on the other side. So go ahead and do that, and I'll see you in a minute. Okay, so this is what it looks like when you sew, and this is what I was talking about. Like, if you're a more advanced crafter and you want to do lining, so that all of this is hidden, you are more than welcome to. But my beginner folks, this is okay. It's okay. This is a project that's super simple, and it's okay. It's going to be hidden anyway when we finish. So I've made it to the end of the first half. What we want to do now is we want to close our zipper just a little bit. Make sure you don't catch the thread like I think I just did. Yep, put my thread on the inside. Alright, so we want to zip it. And what we want to do now is tuck. Remember, this is longer than it needs to be. I got a 12-inch. We only need like a 10 or something like that. So I'm going to tuck it in. We will cut that later, but we just need it out the way for right now. So we're going to tuck it, and we're going to fold our work so that we're sandwiching the zipper in between our work like that. And what we want to do is gather our thread, and we want to start attaching that zipper to our work, just like this. And then after we do this, we can do the same process of like pinning and all that other stuff, but we just need to attach right now, just like this. And then after you do this a couple of times, you can actually unzip and continue exactly the same process as we did before. We just need to get it attached, just like that. And so I'm gonna open my zipper. I'm gonna choose not to pin this time around, but if you need to pin, if it was helpful for you, go ahead and do it. I really don't like to. I just did that because I wanted to make sure you guys were set up for success. So I'm not gonna pin this time, but you definitely can if it was helpful to you. And what I'm gonna do is pull my thread tight, and I'm just gonna start sewing like we did the other side. Just like this. The only difference this time is I flipped my work around, because before, remember, we were sewing like this. I just flipped it around to get a better view. That's it. Alright, so go ahead and sew all the way around. I'll do this a couple times just so you can see what I'm doing. But that's it. Just we're going through our zipper. We're going through both loops of the single crochet on that last row. Going back into that single crochet and through the zipper. And we're just doing that all the way down. Alright, so go ahead and do yours and meet me back here when you're done. Okay, so once I've sewn both sides, what I like to do is pinch the end. And then I'm just going to pass through a couple of times just to kind of secure that end in there. And it just gives it a nicer look. If my needle will cooperate, I think I got a knot. Oh, no, that's all it. Alright. Just go a couple of times through here. Just like that. Ow, I just poked myself. And again, this just makes it look a lot cleaner. Alright. And then we can put this in on the inside and then hide our thread. So we are almost done. You can actually leave it the way it is. It's nothing wrong with leaving it the way it is, but personally, I don't like the way this looks right here. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna do another pass. And this time around, what I'm gonna do is, let me get my needle on this side. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna sew down the other side of my zipper. So I'm gonna sew this down. If your needle is long, your thread is long enough, you can use that same thread, which is what I'm doing. And then I'm just gonna go at the bottom, just sew the bottom, and that's just gonna make it look a little bit cleaner. If you have the same colored thread as the zipper, it looks a lot better, but again, I don't have that color on me, but it'll still work the same. So I'm literally just gonna go, I'm gonna go all the way around here, and I'm gonna continue on the other side, and I'll show you what it looks like. And this is what it looks like once I sew the inside together. It just gives it a little bit of a cleaner look. So if you are planning on like selling these or putting them in the shop or something like, or on your website or things like that, it just gives it a little bit of a cleaner look if you don't want to put the lining in. But yeah, so let's go ahead and attach the leaf and we'll be done. Now that the outside of our apple slice is done, what we're gonna do now is grab our yarn needle, thread that long tail that we left with our leaf. I'm gonna clean up my area because I got all kind of stuff over here. And uh-oh, I got the wrong needle. The zipper is kind of small in terms of like the hole, so I'm gonna change my needle. I got a smaller needle, and this is the same needle I use for my keychains, because my keychains, for some reason, the ones I bought, they are really narrow, and so I had to get another yarn needle. Okay, so for this guy, we're literally just taking that tail, we're going through, and we're going to do a couple passes. That's it. Just a couple passes to attach it, to secure it. And literally, that is it. And like I was saying before, if you want to block this out with like a fabric stiffener so that it doesn't curl, you're more than welcome to do that. I didn't. I kind of like the look of the curled leaf, but if you don't like that look, then you definitely can block it out. And the way you do that, if you haven't seen my video before, it's a really good description on that sunflower video tutorial that I put together. But essentially, you're just going to put your leaf on a board. I use corkboard. And you are going to pin it with some quilting pins. Spray it really liberally with some fabric stiffener. I use just old school, the faultless starch, like the fabric clothes starch that you use for the iron. And you let it sit. I put mine in the backyard while it's sunny. It takes a couple hours, but if you want to do it indoors, it will take probably all day. And then you want to repeat the process with the other side. And that's it. Okay, I'm just weaving in my ends now so that it won't come undone. I'm gonna cut, and that is it. That is our final look. So I'm just getting my thread set up, y'all. So what you want to do is, because this little stopper right here is so that when you zip, the zipper doesn't just fall right off. So because we're cutting, we need to actually make another stopper, and the way we're going to do that is we are going to just sew. We're going to go back and forth to make a new stopper for our zipper. And so I'm just using the same yarn that I used before, which is that green that doesn't match. And I'm right now just securing my yarn. And what I'm going to do is just literally, let me get a little closer so you can see what I'm doing. Just literally go underneath the zipper where I want to cut it. Pull through, get my yarn needle out the way, like that, and just keep going over it a decent amount of times, because remember, this is going to be our stopper. So I'm just going to keep doing that until I get a decent amount of yarn there, and then I can secure my thread and cut it. So you see how it's starting to bulk up, starting to build on itself, and that's what we want. My threads keep getting caught on my work. Okay, let's do one more, and I think we're gonna call that. Just poke the crap out of myself. All right, and I'm gonna use that tail from before to go ahead and sorry. Go ahead and knot my yarn. I keep calling this yarn. I don't sew, you guys. This is not what I do on a daily basis. And I'm gonna cut my thread after. So I just do a decent amount of knots. And I'm gonna go ahead and cut. And we can actually just cut this guy. Like that, and tuck it into our work, and now you don't have that long tail anymore. Okay, so this is what our finished project looks like. It is adorable. And on the inside, this is what we're looking like. And sewing that other side of the zipper really gives it a cleaner look, so I highly recommend you do that. If you want to add a lining, it does make it look even more clean, but as is definitely amazing. Okay, so let's talk some things that you can do with this. What I did is I actually made a different color, and I think that's a pretty cool concept also. And I did the same thing. For this one, I didn't cut the zipper yet, but you can see like when the thread matches the zipper color, it looks so much cleaner. It's almost invisible. So doing these in different colors definitely is an option. You could actually make it a watermelon also, like a watermelon slice. That'd be kind of cool too. But this is a super quick make. Hopefully it was enjoyable for you. Let me get my thread out the way. Lord, move. There we go. Hopefully this was enjoyable for you. If so, go ahead and hit that like button. Go ahead and subscribe. Make sure you hit that bell icon also so you know when I post new materials, which is every single Monday. I try to post. I actually have been posting every single Monday since the beginning of the 2025. So stay safe. There's a lot going on in our world right now. Make sure you and your family are staying safe. Crochet some cool stuff, and I will meet you back here next week for another back to school tutorial. All right, see you next week, y'all.